took so long to write.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, and that is just, it's so great that you got this story on screen. And I am so curious about how you got the cast together, like amazing cast. Like, how did that come about?
Yeah, so basically, like, one of my executive producers, Susanna Fogel, who was my mentor at Sundance Lab, I ultimately did get into like one of those labs, and I met, my mentor there was Susanna, and she became an EP on my film later. And then I worked with the casting director, Deanna Brigidi, who she had worked with, and we have a great casting director. This was the first like experience for me, but she was like, yeah, I personally love the script. I'll do this for, no money essentially. Wow. And send you some ideas. And then it's kind of like, so I was the lead in it. So then we needed to cast the mom, which is the next biggest part, the role of Sherry. So I went to J. Smith Cameron, who is amazing and just like perfect for it. She was down. And then we, I went to Emily and Wyatt, and they were down, and like the last family piece was Steve. And I kind of was just, I was like, there's no way like he's gonna ever read this script. I'm a nobody, like this is a zero budget. But we're like, you know what, let's just like take a big swing. And Jay like also like reached out to him because they had done a movie together years ago. And so then he read it and he was like, yeah, I'm down. I love this. So yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm so curious because with your film, and I don't know if you've seen Pink Skies Ahead, Kelly Oxford. Oh, you should totally see it. I feel like recently representation for mental illness has been, I don't know, it's been stepping up in a real way. And something I really like that you said in your director's statement, that you were turning your pain, resentment, and vulnerability into art. And I think it's so amazing how you were able to bring that to screen in like a humorous way almost, what did that mean to you to be able to do that, to put your art out there? And also, do you see a shift in the sense of representation for mental illness on screen?
Yeah. For me, playing the character too, which was not my original plan, was extremely emotional because not only am I directing and starring in something I wrote that's autobiographical on some level, I didn't really factor in that I'd also be like reliving sort of traumatic times of my life, which added another challenging layer to it. And sorry, I kind of forgot the first question. I lost my train of thought.
It's cool. I was saying a lot at once. It's
okay. Yeah. You were saying you were referencing what, I remember you're saying like, what does it mean to be able to translate these emotions into art? And I think, and so it's vulnerable. I was terrified for the premiere. I knew the movie was good. Like, I think the movie's good. I'm not afraid of that. And I'm not afraid if people are going to laugh or not. Like, I think it's funny. And I'm very self-critical. And I'm just like, I can't, saying something good is like, it's subjective. Like, I can't say if something's good or not, but I can say that if I am happy with it. And I know I'm very happy with the movie, and I find it to be funny and compelling. That said, what was extremely nerve-wracking is being in a room, a 300-person sold-out theater that is largely full of like friends and family and people who know me, and are watching something like so vulnerable that I'm acting in, and my face is on, and I'm expressing a lot of shame. That's a big part of it for me, is like I have a lot of shame towards that time of my life that I try to not think about. I try to block out, and doing this movie released some stuff for me. It was hard, and I didn't want to like go back to that mentally because I worked so hard to move past it. But I think people who, people from my high school, I like watched it online last night and have seen it now. it's a little nice because I think that I was really a terror to a lot of people, and I caused a lot of people a lot of pain. And I kind of hope that maybe there will be like a little bit, it's like a little bit of like an I'm sorry to some people who know me. Yeah, I don't know if that answers the question.
No, that does. And it's interesting to me because I really struggled in college. I think our stories are a little bit different in the sense of, I mean, it's funny. I want to go into my stuff, but pretty much like when I was dealing with bipolar in the beginning, I didn't understand it. I was like very, very manic-y, and I just felt really alone, and I had to like isolate myself a lot. And it was such a difficult time. And it's like, you don't know what to do because you can't really talk about it with anyone because you think of like the stigma of being bipolar and who's going to relate to you. And then, so I've dealt with it throughout the years about being careful who I open it up to. And now that I have this magazine, I've really been embracing the films that have to do with mental health and mental health awareness. And I've been able to, connect these films to my own story. And it's been making me more brave, like films like yours, and even Euphoria. I don't know if you've ever watched that show on HBO, but with the character Brew, who has bipolar. I'm just like, you know what? People who are putting themselves out there on screen, it's making me feel more brave. Like it's making me be able to talk about it and not make it such a stigma. So I really appreciate what you've done. And I feel like, it takes courage. It does to like put yourself back in those places. And so it's not really a question. I'm just like kind of gushing over what you've done. And is that kind of a hope for you that people who deal with similar issues will be able to see themselves on screen? And
definitely. I really hope that people who watch this can identify with it and be entertained by it and see a bit of themselves or see a bit of someone they care about. Yeah, I definitely feel like people like you and others are definitely my like target audience. If I can make people feel like they find truth in this, that's definitely like the goal.
Yeah, and I just feel that people will see it's a real thing that people deal with. Because people just say, oh, I have anxiety or I have depression, but what is that? And you give a face to that. And this movie, Pink Skies Ahead, you'll have to see it because Jessica Barden plays the main character, and she has a panic attack. And you never see that really on screen where it's like, done in such a real way. And I'm like, yeah, that happens to me. And I feel like people should see this to like understand it. So thank you. And was there anything you wanted to add in terms of like, kind of a question that you wish people would ask you more about the film?
I think all I want to say is like, this movie is not trying to tell anyone how to treat their own mental illness. Like, you got to find what works for you. Even if it's not mental illness and it's just mental health, which everybody has. It's like, medication might not be for everybody. I don't think it is. I mean, it is for me. It helped me. But I would say like, this movie is not a prescriptive piece of like how to treat bipolar disorder. Right. It's like, here's one interpretation of one story, and what should be maybe taken away from it is like, it takes time to find the right balance of how to treat that, and also that it's not so black and white, and sometimes things kind of work, but they also have drawbacks, and that you got to hang in there and be patient and try different things, and it's probably a combination of things, and it will take a long time, but hopefully, you can be diligent and make it work.
Yeah. And another piece that I just want to add, I don't know where we're at on time, maybe Brooke can fill me in, but the family aspect, like the
Yeah.
family unit, like having that support and showing that all these people in the family are having their own issues they're dealing with, and how we're not so different from each other, you know,
Right.
like we have our own struggles, but we can come together as a unit for them. Did you want to comment on that at all?
Yeah, I think that whether your struggle is treating your mental illness or figuring out, you know, at a young, and being a teenager who no one takes seriously, but even though you're young, you have such big dreams, you know, like Kyle and the sister, and
Yeah.
you really feel like your life depends on what you're about to do and the scores you're about to receive. The point sort of being is like, no matter how old you are, your problems that feel really big to you, like are big to you. And it requires self-care and a strong support network to get through those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love the yoga bit, because I totally, for the past, like ever since the pandemic started, I've been on YouTube doing yoga. Nice. And it's great. It just kind of brings you there, and to have that thing that you guys did in the morning. It's just, I totally relate to this film all over. So I just want to thank you for that. And thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
I'm so glad to meet so are you from Chicago?
Yeah, I'm in, actually, I've got a Chicago poster down here. Yeah, I'm in Chicago, and I actually know a lot of people that you were working with on this film, and that's why I'm like, we're a total blind spot. I didn't even know about you. So.
I was living in the suburbs, and in isolation in the basement, so that's probably part of why. I mean, maybe that you like to, but hey, we're meeting now, and that's
we should. I feel like we should hang, but we'll do that every time. But congratulations on this film and the success, and I'm just so excited to see where it goes, and I'll definitely be championing it all the way. So,
thank you so much. Your words mean everything, and take care. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.